When something was broken at the factory and nobody else could fix it, Dan Osborne is who we called. The CEO took a $2 million bonus and then tried to cut our pay. People have given their lives to this company. Dan stood up, saved my job, saved our jobs. He took on the big corporations for people like us. He's a heck of a mechanic, but an even better guy.
I'm Dan Osborne, and I approve this message. Because if you want to fix Washington, send in a mechanic.
That was a new ad from independent candidate for the U.S. Senate in the state of Nebraska, Dan Osborne. That race in deep red territory appears to be no longer a safe bet for two-term incumbent Republican Senator Deb Fischer, with the Cook Political Report recently shifting the race from solid to likely Republican. Senate Republicans are now being forced to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that race. Osborne is a union industrial mechanic who led a strike at the Kellogg's cereal plant in Omaha back in 2021, and a victory by the 49-year-old Navy veteran would throw a wrench into the GOP's plans to take control of the Senate next year. And Dan Osborne joins us now. Dan, thanks so much for being with us this morning. So tell us a little bit about why you think your candidacy, so unlikely to start, is beginning to really resonate.
Well, thanks for having me on. I did serve in the United States Navy. I served in the Nebraska Army National Guard. I've always felt compelled to service. And I did, I ran that strike at Kellogg's. 500 people took my friends and their family out into the great unknown, not knowing if we're going to have a job at the end of it. But we certainly felt we were on the right side of history. And now I'm running as a independent for United States Senate. And I'm an independent because I am frustrated with both sides catering to their extremes. We've seen just recently a farm bill, not getting done. We're seeing a border bill not getting done. And I think Robin Williams said it best when he said our elected officials should be wearing NASCAR-style jackets with patches of their sponsors so we know how they're going to vote. And certainly Senator Fischer, my opponent, is no different. She's got a lot of patches on her jacket, and if you look at her voting record, you can, it's right down the line.
So Dan,
if you're watching this and you like what you're seeing, if you like what we're doing here in Nebraska, go to osborneforsenate.com. And my average donation is $35, and we've raised over $4 million, and we haven't taken a dime of corporate money because we're being different. I don't want to be beholden to a corporation. I want to be beholden to the people in Nebraska. That's it.
No patches on your jacket. So Dan, you have said you will not be a member of either party in the U.S. Senate, but would you caucus with either Democrats or Republicans?
Yeah, that's a good question, and thanks for asking that. George Norris was the last independent senator from Nebraska. He helped create the nonpartisan unicameral that we enjoy in Nebraska today, and he did not caucus with anybody his last term. So there's some precedent set. I don't think the two-party system is working for me or my family or my friends or their family, and I certainly plan to not caucus with either party.
Dan, everywhere I go, I hear people complaining, most people complaining about the two parties. They don't represent them. And yet, anytime anybody talks about running as an independent, they're told by all the political powers that be, well, that's a great idea, Sonny, but you're never going to get anywhere with that. It's impossible to do. I'm sure you heard those complaints. Tell me, why has it worked for you? And why could it work for other people out there that are watching right now who are sick and tired of this two-party monopoly, this duopoly that, again, rewards extremism?
Yeah, I do feel like we're in a two-party doom loop right now. And imagine, if you will, for a second, the ramifications on American politics if Nebraska elects an independent mechanic to the United States Senate. The ramifications could be amazing. It would tell people that, first of all, you don't have to be a cryptocurrency billionaire to run for office. So teachers and nurses and plumbers and carpenters, people who stare at a computer screen for a living, farmers, I don't want to leave anybody out, but they could also realize that they could run for higher office the way the framers of the Constitution intended it, right? You come from your farms, come from your factories, do a term or two, and then go back. That's the way it was designed, and that's the way I think. And that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this, is to show it can be done, and also be beholden only to the people that elect me.
You know, Dan Osborne, Deb Fischer was not on anybody's list of vulnerable Republican senators earlier in this campaign, and she is now. You've talked about the appeal that you've made, but talk about why has this cut against her? She was considered headed toward a safe re-election. She hasn't been involved in a scandal. She's not at odds with the party. As you said, Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska's voted for a Democrat for president since 1964. What is there something about Deb Fischer's record that has made her vulnerable in a way that some of these other Republican senators in more competitive states are not?
Well, I think what it really boils down to is the fact that I've done over 140 publicly advertised events throughout the state of Nebraska. I've traveled the state 3 times over. Hopefully I can get around one more time in the next 33 days. But Senator Fischer hasn't had a publicly advertised town hall since 2017. She just really doesn't get out there and talk to people. I think people are seeing that. But again, her record, she went negative right out of the gate, attack ads against me once the first independent poll came out showing us within the margin of error. I had over 12,000 signatures in all 93 counties to get myself on the ballot, which was a huge undertaking. And that prompted her to go negative. And so, you would think as a 2-term incumbent senator, you would be touting your accomplishments instead of going negative against your opponent. So that just tells me that she doesn't really have any accomplishments in the United States Senate. She just kind of does what she told. She's an empty suit. She does what her donors tell her to do, and people are starting to take notice.
All right, independent candidate for the U.S. Senate in Nebraska, Dan Osborne. Extraordinary story. Thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck.